So just a reminder, this is number 4 and your instructions are to solve. Alright, for two things, so this first thing and this second thing in brackets, to multiply together to give you 0, either one or the other had to be 0. Okay, so let's deal with 3x's. If 3x's was 0, x is 0 divided by 3, which also happens to be 0. If x plus 4 equaled 0, then x would have to be 0 minus 4. Therefore, x would have to be negative 4. So two solutions are 0 and negative 4, which you can write like that, or you can just make it clear to your marker that those are your two solutions. This next one is a little bit tricky because we need to factorise it, and the number in front of the x squared isn't 1, so it's an extra bit tricky. And I can show you my way to factorise it. My way goes like this. Find two numbers that times together to give you 5. Write them downwards. Two numbers that multiply together to give you negative 6. And write them, so it's this one here and that one there. Two numbers that multiply together to give you negative 6 and write them down. And then multiply acrosswards. So 5 times 2 is 10. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. And just keep trying until you get a combination that works to give you, when you add them together, 5 times 2 is 10, 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. When we do add 10 plus negative 3, we get 7. That's not what we want. We want negative 7. So let's try again. 5 and 1, maybe 3 and negative 2. Okay, 5 times negative 2, negative 10. 1 times 3 is 3. Negative 10 plus 3 gives me, when I add them up, negative 7. And that is what I want. So what I do now is I'm going to transfer them across to brackets, and I write them across. So I'm going to write 5x plus 3 and 1x minus 2, x minus 2 equaled 0. Okay, and there are a number of ways to do what I've just done. If you've got a way that works for you, you use your way. Okay, for two things to multiply together to give you 0, either the first one equaled 0 or the second one equaled 0. 5x plus 3 equals 0, so 5x equals positive 3, take it to the other side. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. And finally, my x is multiplied by 5. Undo multiplying by 5 by dividing by 5. Negative 3 divided by 5. Okay, if my second bracket equaled 0, x minus 2 would equal 0. That means x equals 0 plus 2. When I take it to the other side, x equals 2. For G, all I can see to start with is that I should expand this expression. So I'm going to go 2x times 3, and I'm going to get 6x. I'm going to 2x times negative x, I'm going to get minus x squared, equals negative 8. What I'll do is I'll bring this negative 8 to the other side of the equal sign by doing the opposite operation with it. 6x minus x squared plus 8 equals 0. When I take that away from this side, I'm left with nothing there. Okay, rearrange it to make it look a bit tidier. So I'm going to write negative x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. And what I've done is I've just moved the things around to make it look the way that we're used to looking at them, with the x squared term, the term with x, and the number on its own equals 0. Okay, when I look at that, I'm thinking that Whoops, I've lost the 2x squared. My apologies, let's put them back in. See, 2x times negative x, 2x squared. Okay, so we've got negative 2x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. I see that I can divide everything by negative 2. So I'm going to divide everything by negative 2. So negative 2x squared divided by negative 2 is x squared. 6 divided by negative 2 is going to give me negative 3x. 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. And 0 divided by negative 2 is still 0. Okay, I'm going to try factorising. I'm going to look for two numbers that multiply together to give me negative 4. And they've got to add up to give me negative 3. Let's think of negative 4. Maybe I'll try negative 4 and 1. Negative 4 times 1 is in fact negative 4. And negative 4 plus 1 is in fact negative 3. So I'll transfer that to brackets. X minus 4, x plus 1 equals 0. And my two solutions are going to be that x minus 4 equals 0 or x plus 1 equals 0. So x is going to be 4 or x is going to be negative 1. So H is a simultaneous equations. When I look at it, the thing that looks good to me is that I've already got y on its own. So what I'm going to do is all of this y I'm going to take, and where it says y in the second equation, I'm going to put 2x plus 1 in instead. So I'm going to write it like this, x plus 3. Now instead of writing y, I'm going to write what I'm told is that y is 2x plus 1. And next I'm going to expand. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 1 is 3 equals 10. X plus 6x is 7x plus 3 equals 10. I want x's on one side, numbers on the other, so I'm going to write 7x equals, if I take the plus 3 to the other side of the equal sign, it becomes minus 3. 10 minus 3 is 7, so x, 7 times a number gives 7, that number had to be 1. I've found x, now I need y. Now for my first equation, I was told that y equals 2x plus 1. I now know that x is 1, so I'm going to write y equals 2 times 1 plus 1. So my y is going to be equal to 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. Final answers, x is 1 and y is 3. If my question with these simultaneous equations was about find out where the two lines, y equals 2x plus 1 and x plus 3y equals 10, cross, my final answer would be that they cross at the point 1 and 3. So they cross where x is 1 and y is 3. For L, we are looking for a number which multiplied by itself 4 times gives us 16. And the ones that you'll be working with are numbers like 1 and 2 and 3. I'm looking at 16 and I'm thinking that the most obvious one to try might be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, because that is the same as 2 to the power of 4. So when I do that, 2 times 2 is 4, 8, 16. So yes, 2 to the power of 4 is 16, so I know that x has to be equal to 2. For the next one, it's a bit trickier, but we can work with it. All I can think to do is to divide both sides by 2. So I'm going to write this. I'm going to write 5 to the power of x plus 2 equals, I'm going to divide each side by 2. 250 divided by 2 is I'll write 250 divided by 2. So 5 to the power of x plus 2 equals 125. Okay. Now, your best option is to think of what you could do to find what power you need. Now, we happen to know that 5 times 5 is 25. So it's not 5 to the power of 2. How about 5 times 5 times 5? Well, when we go 25 times 5, we actually do get 125. So we know that we need to have 5 to the power of 3 to get 125. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer what I just found into the equation, and I'm going to write it like this. 5 to the power of x plus 2 equals 5 to the power of 3. Okay, so that means that x plus 2 must equal 3. X plus 2 must equal 3, and the number plus 2 that equals 3 has to be 1. So my final answer is that x has to be 1. Okay, I've got 3 things multiplied together which give me 0. That means that the first one had to be worth 0, or the second one had to be worth 0, or the third one had to be worth 0. If 2x minus 1 equals 0, then 2x's equal 1, so x has to be a half. If bx plus c equals 0, then bx equals negative c, so x has to be negative c over b. And finally, if dx minus f equals 0, then dx had to be equal to f, and x has to be f over d. So those are my 3 solutions. They don't really look like solutions, but when you're only given letters instead of numbers, they are the best that you can get. ax plus bx equals 6. I'm thinking that I'll take the x's to one side of the equal sign and put the numbers on the other. And then the best I can do is to factorise. So I've got x into a minus b equals 6. Now, my instructions are to find x. So the best I can do is that x equals 6. Take the a minus b to the other side of the equal sign and divide by it. A minus b. Again, it doesn't look like a solution, but it's what the markers are looking for. It's the best you can get.